Tim here, and welcome to the third lesson in the home piano course. We're going to be using this book. A link is in the description. Today we're going to be talking about... today of course is the introduction to chords. Very simple stuff like the C major chord, something like the G7. You're going to see these all the time in your music. And of course there's going to be exercises and pieces along the way, which is why you want to get the book. Okay, so we're going to take a look at page 32. Okay, so first I'm going to basically talk you through a little bit about chords. So the first type of chord you're going to be learning about is the C major triad. Now a triad, actually I don't think they have it written here, is a chord with three notes. There's a root, usually the bottom note of the chord, a third, and a fifth. So here in this case, here's the root, here's the third, and here's the fifth. Now, if they are evenly stacked like this is what we call root position. These are really easy to play because all you do is you go on the piano. So we have our, we're actually going to be playing this one right here on the bass clef. You go down to that bottom note C, and then you just evenly stack notes on top of one another, and that gives you your C major triad. Now, I'm going to let you do this on your own because you can probably read the rhythms on your own, but just play through this chord. You're just going to be playing it as half notes, whole notes, back to half notes, whole notes, and then don't forget about the repeat. The great thing is that the right hand treble clef is the exact same thing, except this time you're going to be putting your thumb on middle C and evenly stacking the notes just like that. Same thing, you're going to play this in the pattern they give you here, the rhythm pattern, and don't forget the MF, which doesn't stand for what you think it does. It stands for mezzo forte, and you're going to be playing that medium loud. Now, once you get that down, you're going to be just playing them together. It's really simple. Just like that, just to give you a taste of that. So go through this page. Even though it is really simple, it is something that's going to come up all the time, like the next page. So here we have one of our first pieces where you have chords. By the way, chords most of the time, especially in the beginning when you're first learning pieces, are going to be occurring in your left hand, while the melody, we talked about melody a little bit before, occurs in your right hand. Okay, so taking a look at Brother John here, it's going to be a moderately fast. So one thing I haven't told you about yet is that the beginning of every piece, for the most part, there is a word here. Sometimes it's in Italian, sometimes they're nice and they put it in English, and that just tells you basically how fast or the type of style the piece is going to be in. All right, so we're going to play this here. Well, the Brother John, all you got to do for this one is while you're playing these four quarter notes, you're going to be pressing and holding a chord in your left hand. I'll show you exactly how that works. Same thing here. So they make it easy because it's the same type of pattern again and again. You can learn it hands separate if you need to at first, and then put it hands together if you are struggling. So let's get this in here. Okay, so here I'm going to play Brother John. I'm just going to play it through just to show you how it goes. And that's how Brother John goes. Now, there's a couple of things I didn't mention that I just realized. Here we go. As I was playing it, it's probably if you're here it is. If you're going to struggle with any measure, it's probably this one right here. This looks more complicated than it really is. You can actually line up, like if you're ever trying to figure out how to line up notes, if you're ever trying to figure out how notes line up with each other rhythmically, you can actually kind of draw columns, maybe in your mind, and you can see right away that in the first column here, say there's 4 beats, there will be 4 columns like that. So obviously, just visually, you can see that this note hits by itself, then this note hits by itself, and then this one hits by itself, and then this is the last 2 beats. Same there, bum, 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 bum. Just like that. Just make sure you hit that last one for 2 beats. There was, another thing to point out is that the first line is piano, so softer. and then louder. All right, here's a happy song. This one I'm not going to play for you, but I will show you one thing, and it's that these two right here. So remember when I said 99% of the time the chords are going to be in your left hand? Well, here's the 1% of the time where they do not. So you have your chord in your right hand, and then 3 chords just like that, or 3, I wouldn't even call them chords, but 3 harmony kind of notes just like that. So let me just play this through for you. I'm going to only play it through once, even though there is a repeat for, you know, time's sake. But let's see if we can get this thing in here. And of course, I'm keeping my fingers nice and curved, all of those great things. All right, and then one other thing I want to mention is if you can't play it at the speed I can play it, which makes sense since you're a beginner, play it slower. There's also a little gear on YouTube that you can click, and you can click basically half speed, 3/4 speed, so you can actually slow the video down itself. You need a little bit more time to grab the notes. All right, let's go on to the next page. That's what it's called. Okay, on to the next page. They are introducing a number of things here. The main thing you want to get out of this is, so here we have our C chord that we just talked about. However, it's one note, played one note at a time rather than all together. But that's not the tricky part. The tricky part is when you have this. Now, keep in mind it says move 5 to B. We're in bass clef with our left hand. What they're showing you here is you start in your normal position, but then you're going to extend your pinky down to B temporarily. And then you're going to hit F, G at the top. And then C, E, G, B, F, G. So you can just play that through, this example through a bunch of times. C, E, G, B, F, G. C, E, G, B, F, G. Because you're going to see that all the time. Now, I also want you, as you're going to see at the bottom, let me get the bottom here. You're doing the same thing, except now you're playing the chords together as triads. So C, E, G, B, F, G. And just play through those a bunch of times because you're going to see it all the time, particularly, as you can probably surmise, on the next page. Oh, hey, take a look at that. We have literally the same chords we just played. Now this page introduces tied notes. Tied notes is basically when you are literally tying the note values together. So here we have a whole note, here we have another whole note. Well, say if I wanted to hold this last one for a total of 8 beats. Well, what you do is you draw a whole note, and then just attach them with a tie, and that just combines the note values of the notes. So on this first measure here, you're literally going to be holding this left hand chord while you play 2 measures of the right hand. And I'll just play the rest of the line for you. It's funny, as they call it Merrily, we roll along, but it sounds like Mary had a little lamb. Maybe they're trying to get through some copyright issues or something. But that's really how this piece is going to go. It's literally the same thing, top line, or pretty close, top line, bottom line. I don't think there's anything in the rest of the piece that's going to get you. So we're just going to move on. That's going to be kind of like your practice assignment, is to play Merrily. Here it is. Merrily we roll along on your own. Largo, same type of deal. There's really not anything crazy about this one. Just keep in mind you have mezzo forte again. You're looking at slow. If you ever wonder what these are, like why they have the letters here, so you may be saying, well, that's a G, but there's only one G in that whole thing, so what does that mean? Well, these are chord symbols. So that's literally showing you that that's the C major chord we talked about earlier. Whereas this one's telling you that this is what's called a G7 chord. We're going to talk more about this later once we start getting into music theory more. I think right now it would just be kind of confusing, to be honest. Same thing here, C major, G7, C major. So play that one on your own as well. Oh, hey, check out this page, 36. It's literally the same thing we just talked about, just with the left hand. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind or just with the right hand, sorry. We did it the left hand before. The thing to keep in mind with the right hand, however, is remember with the left hand, your pinky was on C, and then you had to reach your pinky down for B. Well, this time the right hand, it's your thumb that you're going to be reaching down. Just like that. And then one mistake, a little mistake I made when I was playing is you want to, with quarter notes, you want to make sure that you're lifting up off the notes. I think I kind of held them together. Just letting you know that was a little, something you want to look out for, because it gets me a little bit sometimes. Same thing here, you know, C major chord, G7, you know, just like that. Really nothing crazy. I think that you can probably handle this page, the rest of this page on your own. It's literally the same thing. Okay, now this one I am going to play for you, just because it's a little different. So one thing you want to start doing is analyzing pieces. So I'm looking at this for the first time. And let's list off the things that we should be looking at it if we're looking at it for the first time. Well, the first clue you want to look at is treble clef and bass clef. Now you may be saying, well, isn't that always the case? As you get more complicated stuff, you have to start looking out for this more, because sometimes it could start with double bass clef, treble clef up here, treble clef down there. That's what I mean by double. So treble, treble, bass, bass. But most of the time it's going to be treble, bass. You just want to check. You got your time signature, 4 beats in a measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that one's equal to 4 as well. So that checks out. Quarter note gets 1 beat. And then you're looking for like things like, well, maybe how fast am I going to be playing? This is what you're working up to, by the way. This is not what you're going to start with. You know, you don't have to play it moderately fast from the get-go. Mezzo forte, medium loud. Then you're switching to piano. You got your chords here, so maybe just kind of analyze those as well. Maybe like wherever they're having you reach in a different place, maybe mark that down if you need to. And yeah, just kind of take a minute always to analyze a piece before you play it. Now I'm going to play this for you just to kind of give you an idea. This is how this works, how it's going to work. So I'm going to do the first 2 lines first, because that's kind of how I have this set up. I can only do 2 lines at a time, a little limited, but I'm going to do the first 2 lines first, and then I'm going to play right through the second 2 lines. And keep in mind how I held that last C with the left hand. That's because there's literally a tie there. Next page, I'm going to let you do this on your own, because a lot of it, and read through it, by the way, as well. This actually is the G7 a little bit. So maybe I will explain the G7 on the keyboard really fast, just so you understand. Now, this is like the very basic kind of explanation. So you have, and I'm going to play it, actually I'm going to play it here. So you have your regular C major triad, right? I said that it had a root, a third, and a fifth. Well, the root is just the bottom of the chord. The third means that it's 3 notes away from the root. The fifth means that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes away from the root. So therefore, a 6th would be here, and a 7th would be right there. So therefore, a G7 uses, or C7, sorry, uses the notes C, E, G, and B. It's a C major 7th, to be clear. Now let's take a G chord, since that's what we're working with. Let me move it down here. G major chord. You got your root, third, and fifth again. Same thing, they're numbered the same way. And then 6th, and then a 7th. So with the G7, which is what we really have, you have a root, third, fifth, and a 7th. Now one thing they tend to do a lot is leave out the 5th. This is where it gets a little confusing, right? So most of the time, you're going to have the notes G, B, and F. And sure enough, Now they have it in what's called an inversion, and all that means is that they mix up the notes. So instead of G, B, F, it's B, F, G. And sure enough, we take a look at our pieces. There it is, B, F, G. So hopefully you understood that explanation of sevenths. Sevenths is a little early to be really getting into with this book, but that's, no, I mean, like, it's perfect to introduce it, but as a music theory explanation. But I think that worked out pretty fine. I want you to read through these 2 pages. It's a lot of the same stuff we talked about, but it will help reinforce, and actually always do the little instructions of what they ask you as well. That's really reinforcing all the things we talked about. Same thing with the G7 chord in the right hand. Same exact concept, just with your right hand. And you want to practice that just to get the hang of doing that. Now, this is pretty much where we're going to leave off today. I'm going to play, we're going to play 3/4 time, plus the dotted half note, and then I'll play rockets for you. So 3/4 time, remember when I was talking about 4/4 time, and that the top number tells you how many beats in a measure, bottom number, if it's a 4, tells you the quarter note gets 1 beat. So we still have quarter note equals 1 beat. However, we just have 3 beats in each measure. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So therefore, instead of a whole note, we need some type of note that takes up 3 beats in a measure of 3/4, and this is what we're going to be using. We're going to be using something called the dotted half note. It's literally a half note with a dot on it. So in this one, the half note was worth 2 without the dot. So the dot makes it 3. And if you specifically want to know how a dot works, it adds half of the note's value back to itself. So if this is worth 2, it's 2 plus half of 2, which is 1. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. Here's a very simple measure of 3/4. You can play that anywhere on the piano. Bump, 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 bump. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Sorry, I was a little late with the book, or the thing view, the keyboard, that's what it's called. So I'm going to play this piece for you just to kind of give you an idea, and then I'll kind of run down what your assignments will be for next time. It's pretty standard stuff. Just go, well, let me play the piece first. Rest. So just keep in mind of the rest here at the end of the first line, and then you got your dotted half note there, and then we're changing from forte to piano, so watch out for that. Now it's everybody's favorite time. It is assignment time. So your assignment, like normal, like usual, is to go through the page we started, which was 32 today, play through all of the examples, sit down, go through this page, make sure you understand all of it. Same thing with this. Each piece, like I consider this a piece and this a piece, I would play through 2 times a day, more if you need. If you struggle with certain things, make sure you spend a little extra time, or maybe even star or mark down where you're struggling with that, and then go back to it later. Yeah, so just go through all the things we said, play all the pieces. You should be playing for about 30 minutes a day. An hour would be amazing, but 30 minutes. And say you get through all this stuff in 15 minutes. Well, what should you do? You should go through all the little areas that you struggled with, or maybe some of the harder stuff, and play through them again until the half hour is up, or maybe even practice reading music and things like that. So thanks for coming today, guys. I'll see you students in the next lesson. Make sure to check out the next lesson in this series somewhere, wherever we're going to put the playlist. Make sure you subscribe, you have all notifications turned on, because we have new lessons coming out all the time, and you don't want to miss a beat. This has been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thank you so much for coming today, and I'll see you, yes you, in the next lesson. Have a great day.